Today I'm going to try to draw this soccer field in Tallinn, Estonia. Although, will it really be a soccer field? Or am I just going to fixate on that tower for a disproportionate amount of time? I guess we'll find out. So I'm getting started here by drawing in this tower. That didn't take long. But seriously, I've only gone over why I do this 1,000 times already, so I won't get into the why yet again. But as for the how, I'm just starting at the top and working my way down. Today, like some other days, I'm also going ahead and drawing in these details as I go down, so I don't have to come back to the tower later in the drawing. The tower is candidly what interests me most about this scene, or really most scenes. But as I walked closer to this clearing, the soccer field kind of opened up in front of me, and I thought it might be fun to include it in the foreground. Also, I thought that the movement of the kids practicing would keep things dynamic. So yeah, I started with the tower, and at this point I'm feeling pretty comfortable with my approach. I've already drawn a handful of towers throughout the series, and there will be many more. So I'm excited to see just how proficient I can get. But ironically enough, it's these slightly more ornate ones that I feel the most confident attempting. And I've reached a point where when I see a tower, I don't feel any hesitation with regard to drawing it. I know what works for me. I understand on a basic level how to achieve the look of a lot of these small details. And from this point in my learning journey, I think it'll just be about refining things and working out more precise and, I suppose, elegant shading. I've thought about doing more of these from a variety of perspectives as well, maybe something from directly below, like at the foot of the tower, or even drawing one tower from the top of another. I still need to get some more single subject practice under my belt, but hey, when I see a beautiful tower, it's hard to say no. This type of subject, a tower, is one that requires near constant observation. So you might notice my torso moving around a lot, and that's me glancing up at the tower. I wonder how many more times I can say that word, and then back down to the paper. At home, I've been doing more and more of those blind sketches, which I spoke about, I don't know, a week or two ago. And I think they have helped loosen me up for exactly this type of thing. While I am looking back down at the paper, whereas while blind sketching, I would keep my eyes fixed on the reference, that practice gives me a bit more confidence in what I'm about to draw and a feeling of assurance that I saw what I think I saw when I looked up. It's certainly not foolproof, even with all the repetitive observations. And you can see evidence of that in my tower versus the real thing. Proportionally, I could be doing a lot better. And I think by drawing it this way from top to bottom, it's easy to lose sight of the whole tower in favor of individual parts. I often miss certain details. I add or subtract windows or tweak an angle here and there, but none of this is in pursuit of concrete reproduction, so I'm really unconcerned by it. While I would love to reach a high enough level of proficiency to recreate pretty much anything with precise attention to detail, I'm under no illusions that that day, if it ever comes, is far, far away. So today, and for the foreseeable future, I'm just happy capturing the general essence, even if it is at the absolute ceiling of my abilities. Before we leave this part of the drawing altogether, I'm doing what I can to draw in some of this shading you can see up there through the windows and below the more bulbous sections. I did this pretty quickly, so it's far from perfect, but just that little bit I think adds a lot to the shape and contrast of the tower, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, given especially how simple and quick it felt to draw. While I make my way through some of these more contextual elements, the other structures, the foliage, and the hill, I want to take a second to thank you for your support. I've already learned a lot about both this process and myself, and I'm happy to be sharing that with you. If you've already subscribed to the channel, awesome, you're the best. And if you are enjoying the series and you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps me grow the channel, obviously, and it's a helpful metric for me to know if you are enjoying it. This whole thing has been, minorly life-changing in a sense. So yeah, I just really appreciate you for being here and watching these. On that note, the life-changing part, this project, maybe more than anything else I've ever done, has put into perspective just how little time there really is. I do kind of mean that in the memento mori kind of way, but specifically in the day-to-day sense. When I was younger and spent all of my time playing guitar, well, first of all, it didn't feel the same because practicing is different than producing, which is a dichotomy I'll get right back to. But regardless of what I did back then, I didn't have a dozen other things that simultaneously mattered to me. So I could spend 3 to 4 hours, every evening practicing in my room or at band practice. Today, I have a whole life, and I have, at this point, what feels like legitimately too many things I want, or in some cases need, to do. I'm enjoying this drawing thing immensely, but it does affect the flow of the day, especially contrasted against my life before I started. I still spend a lot of my time with photography. Obviously, it's my job, but that and this do tend to clash a bit, and it's a problem I think I'll be trying to solve for a long time. But then there are other things. Relationships, spending time with my wife is paramount, which, further pushes everything remaining off to one side. Also, I love to read, but that's a time-consuming interest if there ever was one, and it has absolutely been affected by this. Thankfully, I found a way to slot in exercise no matter what I do these days, but it takes up half as much time each day as I would like it to. So right now, I'm waking up, trying to immediately sketch for 15-20 minutes, although sometimes there just isn't time for it. Then we head out and grab a coffee or something, walk around and talk, and sometimes in there we read a bit, but we don't exactly want to cut into our time. So it doesn't always happen. Reading has definitely fallen by the wayside, I think. My wife and I both start work at 5. We're on US hours. So between waking up and then, there's a lot to fit in. We exercise and eat a few hours into the workday, which is convenient, but in no time, it's time to go to sleep. And I have swirling around my head all of the stupid little things I'd still like to do. Right now, with this practice alone, I'd still have a few hours of free time if I wasn't making the videos. But with the production component, making these videos, forget about it. There's not a single minute in my day to spare. So when I think about, I don't know, learning to surf or riding motorcycles or literally any single thing that isn't part of my current schedule, I realize how much there is to do and how little time there is to do it. And at the end of the day, the reason I'm talking about it is how grateful I am to be vigorously, aggressively evading boredom. That's where I land on all this. At this rate, it'll never catch me. There's just way too much to do, so much less time than I ever wanted to notice. So while I'm energetically working my way through this tandem process of learning and sharing, it's brought into sharp relief how important it is for me to consistently reevaluate my priorities, because there's just no time for any waste. Maybe I'll learn to surf one day, but today is absolutely not that day. Recently, I forget the context, I heard someone say, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And the first part is all I've paid attention to for most of my life. But the second part has only recently slipped its way into my consciousness. So yeah, I guess to round out this tangent, if you're feeling bored, I'm sorry. I hope you eventually find something that lights you up inside. If you're like me and can't find the time to do all the things that you would like to do, unfortunately, you just have to decide what's most important and prioritize accordingly, no matter how painful it might be. However intensely I wish for more, there's only 24 hours in a day. Well, that was a long tangent. So let's see where I'm at. You'll notice I did include the soccer field. I finally did get to it. But you may also notice that I did away with a sizable chunk of the hill to manage it. As I made my way down, I was noticing how little room I had left thanks to the tower, but I think that made for a nice and simple workaround. On the soccer field, I was intent on including some of the players, and boy did I, and boy are they horrendous. I've had very little practice when it comes to drawing people, especially full bodies, so please cut me some slack. They may be glorified stick figures, but it's the best I could do. Now I have yet another thing to add to my list of things to learn, and I should probably get on it sooner than later because the juxtaposition between the tower and these people, it's pretty wild. Okay, so here we are. There are a few things here that I don't love. Obviously the people. Also, the foliage at the top was pretty unnecessary, like the actual top of the page. But that's just a classic case of not knowing where to stop. And the top right building and the wall, lazy. Could have done better. As for what I like, the tower, of course, the shining gem of my drawing. But also the feeling I feel like I achieved through the foliage. It looks like it's covering up a lot of what's behind it, and that's exactly what I was going for. For some reason, I was worried that the field would look strange, but luckily it's super simple and straightforward, so it turned out pretty okay. So what do you think? Would you hang this on your wall? Gift it to a loved one, perhaps? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.